Yes, guys. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hope everyone's doing well, guys. On this balmy hot, shouldn't be like this in UK weather. Um, hope everyone's doing good. I've got a massive video to talk about today. With me, I've got Ricky. How you doing, Rick?
Surviving in this heat, mate.
Yeah.
This weather's not good for bald people. I'm telling you.
It's not good for us big fellas either. Let's be fair. You know what I mean? It's not.
Mad, mate.
Oh man, guys! Don't forget to smash that like button as soon as you come in. I think we've got ends coming on as well soon as well. Um, guys, as you know, we heard in the news last night, 24 hours ago, that it looks like Qatar are going to buy Man United. We're going to talk about that in a bit, guys. But don't forget to make sure you go and subscribe to Ricky and Luke as well at the 1892 Reds TV. Let's get them up to 1,000 before the season starts. That'll be a great start to the season for them guys over there. So make sure you go and do that. Make sure you subscribe over here if you've not already. Hit that like button, all the good stuff, guys. And big up to everyone. How is everyone doing? Rick, you doing all right apart from the heat?
Yeah, not bad. I'm off this week, so I can't complain too much. Nice and chilled.
That's
Decent
the
weather
best
for
week of
it.
ever, ain't it? It's the best week of
Yeah,
ever.
that's it, mate.
Poor Luke
Aircon in the
suffering.
background.
Is
Oh,
Luke
yeah.
suffering? Luke
Yeah.
suffering. Big up, Jack. Jack, if you want to join, man, and I can send you the link as well, Jack, if you're free. It's your birthday, actually, isn't it? Happy,
Yeah.
happy birthday to Jack. Big up, Captain Sal. The weather showing respect for the man United takeover. Jesus Christ. Big up the gym. Big up Booger Boy. How you doing? United won't be the same club anymore. It's a stay. Big up Jamie. How's your day been? Busy, hot, sweaty. all them things. Look, guys, tomorrow's going to be the call-in show as well. So if everyone wants, I know a lot of people in the chat want their say. So don't forget, tomorrow night is the call-in show. So you guys can have your say in the chat tomorrow when we do that call-in show. But me and Luke and a couple of others are just going to chat about it now, have a little talk. So big up Baz in the chat. Ricky, what was your first thought when you heard about this takeover last night, Man United?
I want to sleep, mate.
It's just
The
like, fuck that.
meltdown on social media, mate, was a bit draining. To be fair, um, it is what it is. I mean, FSG don't want to sell. United want to sell. You've got United that'll have Qatar, City, Abu Dhabi, Newcastle, Saudi, Chelsea, some ridiculous guy with a lot of money that just spends it for fun. Arsenal spending cash. Um, Worrying times if you're a Liverpool fan, if you want to be honest. We'll just get left. We'll just be a team fighting for fourth place every season, I think. Because FSG can't compete with that. They can't compete with Aston Villa, Brighton, and teams like that, let alone someone that's got that X amount of money to play with in the summer. Um, but we knew it was coming. Like, let's be honest, we knew it was coming, Man United. But yeah, it's going to be hard. And you're really going to see how hard it is once Klopp leaves. Once Klopp leaves, you're going to really see how hard it is to compete with these big boy teams and money.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I titled this video, Liverpool can't compete. With on a financial footing, when you're looking at the years to come, look, if this Man United at the moment, it's speculation, but it looks like they will be
Mm.
taken over. If United are taken over, Newcastle and Man City, all run by Saudi, UAE, and Qatar, it is they look. I know people are putting Chelsea up there with them three. I think Chelsea's spending will get less and less as the years go on.
Oh, yeah.
They've gone out big. I remember, to be fair, when FSG first came in, they went out quite big as well at that time. Buying Carroll and Suarez and
But that's because we
Mount
sold
Fun.
Torres.
Yeah, look, I don't mind the sell to buy stuff. I really don't. I don't mind as long as you do it properly. It don't bother me. We just don't do it properly. That's the issue.
We
That's the
used
issue.
to. We don't know
We've
more.
got. Do you think FSG? Before we go on to more, do you think FSG got more lazy as soon as COVID hit?
I think FSG got FSG have got the wrong glasses on where they thought financial fair play was going to work.
Yeah.
To an extent, it did in the Premier League at the start. It was only really Man City coming in, spending the money. The other teams around us weren't really a threat in terms of overspending on players. I still think they think financial fair play is coming. I don't why they think that. It's just, and I think they see the success Klopp got with this team. We got all the trophies, and they just didn't think they needed to spend to stay on top, and they've been massively caught out. We'll finish outside the top 4 for the first time in a long time, and it wouldn't have needed that much money, this squad, if you did it right. If you bought a midfielder last summer, if you bought one before that, if you invested in the team season after season, you won't be in the state we're in now, where we're heavily needed massive amount of money to get this team right. But I still don't think I think it's too late for FSG. I do think it's too late to now rebuild and compete with these big teams that have got money. Like we're panicking over 35 million for Kone. Like we've signed McAllister for 35 million. It seems like that's all the budget. Like the wording of like Romano's tweets is Liverpool don't really want to look at a defender that's too much money because the budget. So what's the budget? 50 mil.
I have no idea. This is where, speculation especially on Twitter, goes a bit mad with this budget stuff. We'll get more into that. Big up, Jack. I believe it's your birthday today.
Yeah, you probably get the age, mate. Nearly 30. I'm getting up there, mate. Getting up to that tally.
I'm not pushing 50, let alone something.
You don't look it, lad. It's all good. No, thank you for the invite, mate.
Happy birthday to you, man. Everyone's wished Jack happy birthday in the chat. Jack, looks like you moved house.
Yeah, well, no, just sorted the ship behind me that it used to be anyway. So eventually, how are we, boys? Yeah, rubbish news last night. If it does, and obviously I've done a show with Ricky yesterday, and yeah, we are. As Ricky said, we'll be competing for 5th. I think we'll be competing with mid-table really, because the aspirations. If it wasn't for Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool would be a bloody million miles away from Manchester City. First and foremost, mate. And that's the reality. Without Jurgen Klopp, we're not competing for any titles, first and foremost. Big up, chat. Massive thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah. So it's back to reality, mate, for all of us, really.
Now, let me send a link to the Spider. Let's get Spider in here as well. Okay. Look, with that being said, you are right. Look, I've had my problems with Klopp last season because I just don't think Klopp did his job well enough last year. I think we can mostly all agree with that. But, in saying, I don't know about you guys, before I send this link to Spider, do you think there was something missing from Jurgen last season? Like, he didn't seem his normal self, if that makes sense. He's arguing with everyone. He's arguing with Gabriel Bonglahor on TalkSport. Why? He's arguing with this referee, that assistant. We're arguing with everyone, never happy. The flame in him looked like it was dying out a little bit, Ricky. Do you think he lost a little bit and it sort of started to come back in? We started to see a bit of the old Klopp towards the end of the season.
No, I mean, I think Klopp was trying to prove a point to them divs in charge, FSG. Look what I'm bringing on. James Milner, he's 38, 37. Look what I'm bringing on. And then you had the chance where you've got Klopp looking at bringing on Harvey Elliott starting majority of our games last season, 19, 20-year-old kid. I just think Klopp was trying massively prove a point. It don't help that he was fighting with Bonglahor on TalkSport. It don't help that he wanted to beat up every fourth official on the sideline. It don't help that there is an agenda against Liverpool Football Club in terms of officiating, Paul Tierney, David Coote, and name a few others. But yeah, I just think he was proving a point, and I think he took his foot off the gas once we knew we weren't getting top 4. Let's be realistic. It was, you could probably tell January, February time we weren't getting top 4. I think Klopp took his foot off the gas a little bit to try and prove a point, to show that we need money to spend. And I'm telling you now, FSG don't know we're not playing Champions League football next season. I'm telling you now, they don't know. They probably think we're playing Champions League football.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. That's, as we've all said on our shows for the last 12 months. Like, when we're not saying that Klopp is, we all love Jurgen, but he has, as Vicky and you've said, Jay, on plenty of occasions, he just needs to take some accountability. And I tell you what, now certain sections are Klopp out at this minute, and they're entitled to think that as well. But the book does stop at Jurgen Klopp first and foremost. If Jurgen Klopp, say, if he was to get 200 million and he brought players in and he didn't really deliver going to next season, then, of course, the question marks would eventually get asked to Jurgen Klopp. But I always say Jurgen's not a miracle worker, but Jurgen, for the last 2-3 seasons, he's seen exactly what we've all seen. He laughed it off in interviews that, why is everyone talking about midfielders? We're talking about midfielders because we last season and the small margins at that elite level of how close you can get. It was laughable that he was so reluctant to just rely so much on James Milner and Jordan Henderson. Yeah,
that's madness. That's madness. Big up, Spider. How you doing, man?
How's it going, lads? You all right?
Doing good. Yeah, so this United news last night has looked like it's caused a bit of a ruckus between, especially Liverpool fans. And look, I think most supporters of a lot of the clubs in the Premier League, let's face it, even City fans will be looking at it thinking, shit, as big as City are, United are 100 times bigger.
Yeah.
And if they're getting money that's equal to more than what City have got as well, they're going to be a bigger attraction for players around the world, let's face it. And look, Liverpool got a lot. I've said it already. Liverpool can't compete, especially with these three financially. They probably need to sell the club, but will they sell the club, Spider? Or do you think... They're venture capitalists at the end of the day. They like making money. And if Liverpool fail and keep failing, they're not going to make money. So how do you see this going eventually?
Look, eventually they're going to sell up, I think. I think that, the fans are going to turn more and more against them. The more that we're not competing, the more that they're going to lose out big time, to be honest with you. You can only see it going one way with that. For the moment, I mean, they're still stuck in their bubble that they've taken the club as far as they can possibly go. I'm not an FSG out man because I've always been kind of on I've been pro them for a long while because of how they changed the club around and all of that. But then, you're at a certain stature of spending that you can only take us so far. And since the market changed with the TV rights money, you have to look at the bigger picture. It's football is a lot more about money than it is about, the history side of things these days when it comes to winning things. And although it means more with the clubs that have history and the clubs that have that, Man City have just gone and done a treble this season while being investigated for 115 cases or whatever, and then and still getting away with it. And they'll take all of this. It's like they'll keep digging that hole and doing what they need to do until such time as they're told, no, you can't do it anymore. And and they're entitled to do that. But with Manchester United being sold last night, that's just going to make it's going to come down in the likes of us, Spurs, Arsenal, a lot more, especially us, I think, because we're even with no money, we've been the only ones that kept City at bay for the last 6 years. Really, if you think of it, one little blip in the season before last season. And we're the only team that's kept them anywhere relative as a league. Anyway, the league relative, I should say. And I don't know. For me, now they need to go, but go in a good way, or at least hand over the majority share to somebody so that somebody can come in with investment. Because nobody's going to come in and invest 400 million and only take 20% of the company. They're going to want a bigger slice of the pie. They're going to want a lot more than that, and the only way we can see that happening is by selling up the majority share, at least 49%, which you can't because there's other shareholders.
Right. Oh, it's a it's more of a statement. We're saying we gained success in spite of FSG, not because of them. I disagree with that.
Mm.
And the reason I disagree with that, because I think when FSG first came to Liverpool, they just bought Liverpool because it was 300 million and it's a worldwide name, right? And they knew, no matter what, they'd make money on it, right? So it's a wise investment. If I had 300 million hanging around, I'd probably do the same thing. It's a wise investment for them, especially in their sports branding. But it took them a long time because, to start with FSG, if you go all the way back, Damien Comoli was in charge of transfers, and contracts and all that crap. And he was god awful at his job,
Just a bit.
like terrible at his job. And then they finally, sorted it all out the year before Klopp came. And he started getting Michael Edwards in and Mike Gordon. I think Mike Gordon is extremely important to the way we run. I think you hear Klopp. Klopp always talk when he talks about the owners in FSG. Klopp really talks about Mike Gordon a lot, don't he? He's the one he talks about because I actually think him and Gordon have got quite a good relationship.
Yeah,
and I think Mike Gordon's a bit. I think Mike Gordon wants to do things differently to Tom Werner and John W. Henry. He wants to maybe invest more and stuff like that, and he's a bit aware of what they want to do. And then they came together, and then they started building starting to put the structure in to build a side. And you got likes of Bobby, and then the database came in, and you saw the players that the database was starting to buy, like Bobby Firmino and stuff like that. And Brendan Rodgers didn't know what to do with him and played him right wing back and stuff like that, and then left him on the bench. And then they got Jurgen Klopp, who fitted what FSG wanted to do.
He was the perfect one, Jay. In world football,
he fits what the criteria the owners want to take a club to. And I've always said this. I think I look at Tottenham. I think Tottenham get it wrong a lot of time because Daniel Levy, the way he wants to run a football club, and the managers he goes for are not the same way. Them managers they go for are money men like Conte and Mourinho. They want massive money to spend on a team and win today and not tomorrow. Where Pochettino was perfect with Daniel Levy at Tottenham because he worked in the same sort of way that Levy was happy working in. So it worked hand in hand till Levy screwed him over. And then Klopp and FSG sort of work well together. They're sort of like similarity. There's a lot of similarity. I can't say the word. They're very similar, basically, in the way they approach business, in my opinion. And then they started to build something from that base together. Gordon was there. Mike. There's a lot of Liverpool fans who feel the dynasty of Liverpool was actually built by Michael Edwards and Mike Gordon. And is it Ian Graham, the data analyst? Yeah. They feel like a lot of Liverpool fans feel they're the three that really built this Liverpool dynasty because, if you go back on a lot of players, they weren't Klopp's first choices. Salah weren't Klopp's first choice. Mane. Klopp's first choice was Alisson. Van Dijk. Sorry, Alisson was bought through the database and goalkeepers. And Liverpool had this way of buying players, and Klopp was happy to go with it. And Klopp is a world-class coach who could take these players and involve them into something special. So I do think when we went and won things, it was because the structure was correctly in place at the time.
Yeah.
And the manager in charge with that structure went perfectly. It was like peanut butter and jelly. It just worked perfectly. But the problem is, as we're seeing with FSG, with the rest of their sports franchises, it's starting to go stale and go that way. And that's the issue, isn't it, Ricky? They did take us somewhere. They did do well at one point with the structure and the way it worked. We built a heck of a squad. We had a heck of a coach. It all worked beautifully. Behind the scenes was running really well. Weren't much of a problem. But then it started to go that way. And if you look at the rest of FSG sports bases at the moment, it's doing the same thing.
Right. So if you look at FSG's rest of their sports portfolio, they bought the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins made playoffs every year for I don't know how long. This year was the first year they haven't made playoffs, and who's in charge? And they're fans. Like you see someone like FSG's portfolio sports teams fans on social media. The Pittsburgh Penguin fans are moaning. They got rid of everyone in the management team at Pittsburgh Penguins and replaced them with their own people. It hasn't worked. Haven't spent a penny on the teams at Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Red Sox are moaning that there's no investment on the team. They've sold some of their best players and not replaced them. They've replaced them with mediocre players in that sense. I read somewhere that the Mo Salah of the Red Sox was sold. And then they brought a few kids in. I mean, it's poor. There's no, like, listen, FSG have done wonders for this club. They built the stands, new training ground. They brought Klopp in. But there was an interview with John Henry that it really fucked me off. Was we wouldn't have signed Alisson or Van Dijk if we didn't sell Coutinho. So that's fine. Then you won't be league champions and Champions League winners because you're not bringing quality in. I get this. Like, I don't want a state owner to come in and buy Liverpool Football Club. That's not what I want. I want someone that's willing to come in, invest in the team when it needs it, refresh things season after season. Look at Man United with Fergie. They won the league, but then they didn't keep the same players. They went and invested and got better players than what they had, and then they won the league again.
And Liverpool in that time spent more than Man United in that era.
Yeah, it's the same with Pep. They asked Pep, "You've never won the league title with the same squad." Pep was like, "You can't win the league with the same squad." Liverpool tried to win the league with the same squad for 5 seasons.
Same midfield.
Thiago was our last, before McAllister, Thiago was our first midfield signing in 4 years? It's all we needed last summer was a midfielder to come in who was better than what we had. Last summer we had Calvin Ramsey, Darwin Núñez, Carvalho, Melo. Ramsey's going on loan, so that's one person. Arthur played 13 minutes in that transfer window. Núñez has been hit and miss this season. Carvalho is not wanted by the club no more. They're on about selling him or loaning him out. What a horrific transfer window it was last summer. I don't think it's going to get much better this summer. I think McAllister is your marquee signing. We're not getting Cornet or Thuram. None of them are coming in. It's the same old excuses. I mean, FSG haven't spent a penny out of their own pocket. To build the stand expansion, we paid 80 million for it. We took a loan off FSG, an 80 million pound loan off FSG. Instead of investing in the squad to get better players, we're paying a loan back to FSG. Why? If you're not selling the club, why are you taking the loan back now? There's no need for it. Take the loan back when you want to leave and sell the club.
Just think about how much revenue, boys, that is generated. Sorry there, Jay. Like, you look at, like, the kit manufacturers.
The third highest revenue, Jack.
Everything, lads. Like, everything's gone up in the last 5-6 years. And business terms, yes, I'm not a financial expert. There's probably better people out there than me. But just look at the prices. Everything's gone up over the last 5-6 year period. Sound. Yes, we pay the second highest wages. But like with any business, you need to invest in them. We're not Spurs. We don't get the brand spanking new stadium, new facilities. It's all good. The most important asset in any football team is the players on the pitch. You start winning from there, and then that massively generates everything. Like, we finished second in Champions League a couple of times, about 3 times in the last 5-6 season period. Where's all that money? You need to continue to reinvest. Fergie, as much as it done our heads in, he knew exactly what he'd done, spent a lot of money on top talent, and built a team about 4 or 5 times over. Pep's done it. Pep's not afraid to throw out players under the bus. Like, he re-evolves. All the top elite coaches re-evolve, but for some reason, Liverpool Football Club in our midfield and even in our defensive crisis, we did not do that.
One thing I'm going to say, yeah, I believe personally, the last 2 years, the owners and Klopp together have got a lot wrong. Right? I do believe. I think Klopp has. I know. I love Jurgen Klopp as much as everyone, but I do think a lot of people don't see no wrong in Jurgen. That's an issue at times. Look, one of Jurgen's traits is if he really loves you, he really loves you, and he's not. He already said, like, he didn't want to let go of some of these players that brought him so much success because he loved them. He wanted to keep him, and he's admitted he's sentimental like that, and he finds that part of the game really difficult. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? People just don't like to hear that for some reason, and it's the case. Should Jordan Henderson still be at Liverpool? This is his 12th year. If he retires at Liverpool, he would have played for the first team at Liverpool longer than Steven Gerrard, right? Should Jordan Henderson still be at Liverpool this coming season? Probably not.
No.
Should Fabinho be at Liverpool this coming season? Probably not. You've got to refresh and move on. And when people keep telling me all the time, right, why aren't we in for Declan Rice? Jurgen Klopp probably thinks Fabinho is a better footballer than Declan Rice. So why would he go and buy Declan Rice? We can't have 7 players in the same position. Players have got to leave the football club. The art of having a successful football club, by the way, is knowing when to sell players at the right time. Having a successful is about selling. Look, Man City are going to get rid of Caicedo. Not Caicedo. What's his name? The left back.
Cancelo.
Cancelo, yeah. They're just going to get rid of him. He's had enough. It all goes together. For me, though, as I see it, Jurgen Klopp, the way Man City do it is that Pep Guardiola is the coach. He's not a manager. He is the coach of the first team. He takes control of the first team. He coaches all them players to the best of his ability, formations, tactics, strategies, training, all that. That's what he does. And then everything else is left to different people in the departments at the football club. What I look at the moment with Liverpool is that Jurgen Klopp is the sporting director, the manager, the coach, and the person who has too much power at the football club. And for me, I think a little bit that FSG have put that onto Klopp, and they shouldn't have. They should have taken some of that power away from him and told, look, Jurgen, you're a world-class coach. Just coach. We'll take care of everything else behind the scenes. Like last year when Jurgen's saying we don't need a midfielder. Really, what the owner should have done is gone, Jurgen, we've heard you there, but listen, Milner's 38, Henderson's 32, Thiago can't walk. I know you're saying you players are great and we love you for it, but yeah, you see this Caicedo kid at Brighton, we're just going to get him in for 20-odd million at the time. And we're going to bring him, you don't need to use him straight away, but he's there. Maybe the owner should be a bit more productive like that and don't put everything on Jurgen, because Jurgen is very powerful at the football club and is very sentimental, which I like sentimentality in football because you need sentimentality, otherwise this is dead. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about that, Spider. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm not sure.
No, yeah, I agree with you in the most part. I think a lot has been put down on Klopp in the past couple of seasons. I think since Michael Edwards left and all of that as well, he doesn't know whether he's coming or going. And they didn't even see eye to eye for the most part anyway. But they had an understanding of what the club needed and what the team needed, which is why they worked so well together in the end, even though they didn't agree on some of the choices either were making. But yeah, look, Klopp is a world-class manager. He just needs world-class backing. And if you haven't got world-class owners at the moment that are going to back him like world-class owners, you're just going to get mediocrity. And this is where we're stuck. We're going to be stuck with mediocre players. We're going to be stuck with players that are going well past their prime. And we're just going to be paying them an overhyped wage. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita are prime proof of that. They were at the club 2 seasons too longer than they were meant to be. I mean, you'd always give Ox a chance to come back after his injury because he had a fantastic spell before he got injured. But once you didn't see that happening, you didn't see it coming back, you had to put him on the shelf. You had to put him out there and say, oh, look, we can let him go for 20 million to somewhere or something like that and just make the money back, reinvest it, even if it's into youth or into somebody else or, bringing up another young player. But it would have been better than somebody available is always better than somebody who's not available. It's just that simple. And Naby Keita, Ox were never available. Arthur Melo was never available when he came in for that period of time. Thiago was only available a third of the time. I mean, they say that if he plays 28 games a season, it's a lot. And that's saying it right there. Fantastic footballer, great to bring off the bench right now, but it's not what Liverpool need right now. Liverpool need consistency. Even when we were linked to Mason Mount, who's going to United right now, a lot of people didn't like him coming to the club. But the one thing I looked at when I looked at it on paper is that the dude is always available. He was always able to pop on off the thing, and I think under Jurgen Klopp he would have been a better player. Now he's going to United. That ship is sailed. No, I don't. Not that I was plowing for Mason Mount or the likes of his ilk to come to the club, but I'm just saying an available player that Klopp can mould into part of this team is what's needed. And the problem is that Klopp is not getting backed. Not enough. I mean, doing these one-off buys and then masking it with 2 or 3 young fellas or a couple of frees is just not going to cut the mustard anymore against your bought United billionaire owners or state-owned. City are going to be state-owned. Like Newcastle are state-owned now. It's just these 3 teams now are going to, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think United can do it straight away, but I'm just saying these 3 teams in the next 5 years could be miles apart from the rest of the pack if we're not careful. And it's something needs to be done about it now. And if I can see Badger Scouseport there says no month. I know I see it, but definitely I didn't want them at the club, but available is better than not available is what my thinking was. But if we're going to do it, FSG really have to do it now. They'd have to get in the right kind of, no more consortiums. Consortiums don't work in my eyes anymore. Gone are the days where multiple owners come in and it's just a board. We've learned a lesson with that now, and bringing people in to become part of FSG or this group, where it's just not going to work anymore. And you're going to need somebody who's just going to come in with the right purse strings and do what's right. Because now the big difference now to us is that when Chelsea were bought and when Man City were bought, there was no tie, there was no strings attached to them. They could do whatever they want. FFP was barely in. They were able to get away with all this stuff for years. I don't think Newcastle are going to have the freedom, or United are going to have the freedom that City and Chelsea have had in the past. I think all of these sanctions, and now they're bringing in the talks of the wage cap and all of that. It's not going to make much of a difference anymore. And I think that's where the fairness comes. But the fact that at least the players can be bought, bonuses can be paid, and as long as you do the right package for players on top of their wages with bonuses and players bought, that's where the future is going to go. Long contracts, bonuses paid, and just cut out the fact of having to compete with oil money and just make it as fair across the board as possible. If that comes in sooner than later, it could be more of a fair statement. But the fact is that Klopp and the Liverpool team have us where we are competing with City, not FSG at the moment, because they haven't really, as Ricky said, they invested a Coutinho money back. Whether they knew that Coutinho was leaving, of course they did. He was definitely leaving, and according to FSG, they were definitely going to sell him for that amount of money and replace him with players. If you said to me in the morning, would we sell Salah? I love Salah, and I think he's been brilliant for this club. But if you sold him and brought in 3 or 4 world-class players, you could. But I don't, I want Salah to stay till the end of his career. I think he's brilliant. And I think, he just needs the right service, which I hope McAllister can give. But Ricky's right as well. If we don't see a Thuram or Kone coming in this window or that type of player, we're in trouble, lads. Big time.
Yeah. I'm just happy Tillemans has gone to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's dog shit. Right. There's some super chats here. Big up, Mike. This team could spend 600 million in the next 2 windows without breaking FFP. We do not have lack of funds. We have lack of ambition. We have plenty of cash. I don't know. I don't think we have as much cash as people think. Big up, Sean. We have owners who are happy to sit back and flatten the cow. We have media that are happy to keep them there. They need to sell out Fenway. We come not to play. We're right, whether you like it or not. Big up, Sean. And Gangan Deep says Klopp and FSG is a marriage made in hell for fans who want our club to have sustained success. We're unambitious owners for whom winning isn't a priority, and Jurgen is a sentimental and not ruthless enough. Do you know, with the Jurgen not ruthless enough, I do agree, but I think Jurgen is ruthless with people he don't like.
Yeah.
So if you're like a Saka and stuff like that, when he tried to leave him at Alcatraz and stuff, when them sort of, if he don't like you, he won't play you. Like a lot of Liverpool fans always rated Divock Origi. Why don't Divock play more times? Why don't Divock get more minutes? And Klopp didn't like him. Klopp tried to get rid of him so many times. He even went out on loan to Werder Bremen or Wolfsburg, wherever it was. And Klopp didn't want him at the football club, but no one would take him. So he will be ruthless in a way, but to players he don't rate. I'm yet to see Jurgen ruthless to players that he loves. That's the issue. He wanted Milner to stay at the football club.
Adam Lallana is another one.
He wanted Adam Lallana to stay at the football club. He wanted Bobby to stay at the football club. So that's the issue. So you can't. FSG are not ambitious enough. It is true, because if they're more ambitious, I don't think that Liverpool got as much money as people think. I looked at John W. Henry's net worth. His net worth's really hard to see what it actually is, because his net worth is tied down in assets. Yeah, so FSG itself is worth 4 billion, right? That's an asset. It's not liquid money. I don't know what his liquid money actually is. He can't look financially. I think we can all agree that he can't compete with Newcastle and City on a financial basis. That's fair enough. We're not asking them to. That's the thing, ain't it, guys? We're not actually asking them to compete financially. It's just
Billy, are you saying that the owner of our club is worth the same amount of money as our club?
No, FSG.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's not. FSG are worth 10 billion as a company.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
I just googled it. They're worth 4 million.
4 million.
Yeah, no, 4 billion is Liverpool's value, and the Red Sox are worth 3.5 billion on Forbes currently.
That'd be a disgrace if our owners were the same amount as our club.
Yeah, FSG is 10 billion as a whole. As assets, 10 billion.
That's it, slow, ain't it?
Yeah, you've got us and
all that.
Yeah, us and Red Sox give them 8 billion alone.
Fair play.
Assets is different, though, ain't it? It's not like
It's just
what they can borrow. They could borrow against that, because it's better to be in debt most of the time when it comes to running big business.
Loans, though, do they? They don't.
No,
I
don't know why. It's tax relief. It's everything on top of them with all of these big. They'll make more money in the long run.
They do doing loans just against Liverpool and to pay them back.
Do you know what I think is going to happen with FSG eventually? I think FSG see Liverpool as their main sporting franchise now, and because I spoke to some American friend of mine about this, and he was saying that he's a big he lives in Massachusetts, so he's a big Boston Red Sox fan. And he was saying that when they first came in, it was great because they ain't won a World Series for like 90 years or whatever it was, and then they won like 3. So when they came in, what they did was fantastic for the club and for the city and all that sort of stuff and all that jazz. But then it just fell away. And he feels like the people in Boston, it's mad, because the people in Boston actually feel like, that I know of and spoke to anyway, they feel like FSG are more looking at what Liverpool do than what they're doing at Red Sox at the moment. That's why the fans at Red Sox, the fans that I know of and talk to, say they're so unhappy about it. So it's a weird one. We think over here that they don't care about us and they only care about Red Sox. I personally think they just care about their portfolio and just getting whatever they can,
They want that NBA team next, don't they?
Yeah, they want that. They want a is it a Las Vegas NBA team, ain't it?
With LeBron James.
I think that'll happen as well. I think that'll happen, but they're gonna have to sell a franchise to make it happen. I just don't think they're gonna sell Liverpool. Why would you? Like literally right now, if you're the owner of Liverpool Football Club, why would you sell when you make so much revenue?
You need 4 billion to start that basketball team.
Yeah, what you make so much revenue, and this is a problem, guys. This is one thing we need to chat about. We know Liverpool makes so much commercial revenue, right? And as FSG are the owners, you've got to say, look, whatever they're doing on the football field, forget that a second. But as businessmen, they're obviously very good at their job because the commercial revenue we're bringing to the football club is very high. They can't be crap at their job to get that revenue in really high. So they're good at that part of the job, yeah? Getting commercial revenue in. What they're not great at, though, is making profit from high profits from commercial revenue. How the hell are we the third highest revenue club in the world? I mean, City are first. We're going to talk about that in a minute because that's dodgy as fuck. But we're third in the world or fourth in the world for commercial revenue last year. And that's probably going to go up again next year, even though we're in Europa League, because the year it counts, it'll be the following year after that. How do we only make £15 million profit, Ricky, from all that commercial revenue? This is the problem I think we all need to sort of start to understand is how can we make such a small, tiny profit from gigantic commercial revenue? And did you hear about what Mo Charter said? If Liverpool won the quadruple last season, they would have made no profit.
He also come out and said that we won't lose a lot of money by not being in the Champions League this season. So we can
No,
still
right.
afford to spend money, but I don't get where. Listen, people in the chat probably won't agree with it, but I don't know where the money's going. It's going somewhere, and it ain't
A lot of
going
it's
to
on
the-
wages.
But it's not though,
Yeah.
Jack.
It's the weird
that-
wages they do.
The
Though.
bo-
It's the
yeah,
weird wages
yeah, but
they
that
do.
was when we won the league and the Champions League. Where's the money since?
All on
Well,
sale
it's from
contract.
last season as well because they got to all four. They got the almost completed football. So it's because apparently they do this everywhere with all their sports franchises. They give these bonuses that are they're easy to attain. So where Mo Charter was saying, because we finished the Europa League season this year, we're not going to make as much money from not being in the Champions League, but the profits will be pretty much the same this year because the wages will go down because they're not going to get their Champions League top up on top of their wages, all the players and the staff this season. It's mad. We've got to get rid of this. I think we've got to get rid of this bonus system we have in our wages, don't you guys?
I'd agree. Yeah.
We've got to get rid of this bonus stuff because just do basic salary, man. Because if
But
you
why-
do
but
basic
why-
salary, Liverpool are like 6th on basic salary.
Why do we act as if Liverpool Football Club is the only one that gets affected by COVID, is affected by winning things? We're the only team that seems to lose money by winning things.
I know it's mad, don't it? I agree. It don't make sense.
I'd say why
Yeah,
we
makes
do
sense.
you get away with it is we've got the best PR in the business, some of the best media trained.
Yeah, because mate,
professionalism. We are the biggest PR, mate. Like
there's not
the
one
flowers,
Liverpool journalist
the
that goes
flowers
against
no.
FSG. It's
It's
It's a mad one, ain't it? The PR is great. I will say, it ain't all PR from FSG standpoint because I think a lot of close media that are very close to the situation put out a lot of stuff in their own words, and spin it their own way and make it sound a lot worse than it is and doesn't do anyone any favors as well at the same time. But yeah, it is mad. Look, we should be making massive profits. As you say, that commercial revenue, guys, is huge. We should, Brighton made more profit than us. Brighton made more profit with far less commercial revenue. But we've made £15 million profit out of what? Was it 600 million revenue?
700 million.
You only make 15 million off 700 odd pounds.
think with Brighton though as well, they invested with their owner. It was a 300, 400 million as well internally in the infrastructure. So they've invested their own owner has invested a lot of money into the club. I doubt FSG have probably done that themselves.
No, look, they've not done any of that. Look, I don't actually mind AXA coming in and going, "We'll build your stadium." I don't mind that. I don't understand why people get so frustrated with that, because it's a massive sponsorship that the club have been able to get with the power that they've made to get and then build. I don't mind that sort of stuff. That don't bother me because that happens in big business all the time. Yeah, happens in a lot of big business. My problem is we have to find a way of making more money available. This is the issue. If we're only making £15 million profit, £15 million profit on, like Ricky said, over £700 million in revenue, you can't then go and spend 300 million in one summer. It's just impossible, because then you take that off what you get off next season, and you make no profit. You're in a negative. We've always been in profit under FSG, but the profit's always minimal. It's never like, oh, this summer we made 170. No, Manchester City made 262 million or whatever it was, 400 million or something like that, winning the treble. Yeah, right. Liverpool won the Champions League one year, the Premier League the following year, FA Cup, League Cup a few years after, and all that, and made nowhere near that much bonus, that much near profit. So something's awry. Something, as Ricky said, is going on internally at the football club that we might not be aware of. But the problem is they have to put the stuff on the books, Spider.
Yeah,
so this is the problem. Are they hiding stuff, or are we just not very good at making profits out of what we make?
Well, from what I'm looking at here, just on the base money, I'm going by like the Nike deal that we have there. It's supposed to be right at a minimum, even though it was less than the 45 million a year that was at New Balance, it went to 30. It's because of the 20% royalties that we have with Nike. That brings it up to 70 to 75 million pounds a year. And then that brings it up again when you're talking about the extras on top of it, which is standard charter at 40 million, the AXA training kit, 20 million sponsorship, the Expedia deal and all that kind of stuff. Brings up to around 140 million a year. But then you go and you look at the annual salary that we have to pay out per year as it stands right now at this moment in time. It's 134.5 million. So that's already coming off the wage bill, which means that the only balance of profit outside any taxes to be paid is 6 million. So it's only the other revenue that comes in on top of that is what we're making in profit really outside. So no, I'm not even looking at stadium tickets or anything like that. So where's that money going? I'm using the base figures of profits from the kits and the sponsorship deals all the way through, which is 140 million to 134 million wages out. So if that's the case, let's say 6 million profit margin there. Let's say there's tax taken into account or whatever like that, so we'll say there's about 3 to 4 million or something profit based there. So what happens, we know we got the staff and all that have to be paid by the stadium, which comes in off whatever the sale tickets happen at the stadium, and that'll tell you what that is straight away. So, I mean, surely if they say it's the bums on seats that are really paying for the players when you look at it. And if the bums are on seats and the money is coming in, I mean, the stadium is full every single week. I don't think I've ever seen an empty seat at Anfield in a long time.
It's a 40,000 waiting list.
And next season it's going to be 61,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, but I'm going to tell you, I bought 3 season tickets this season for the hospitality section, and they cost £19,000 for the hospitality section between me and a few lads. We bought that. So if that's just from one group of people for 3 seats.
Spider's rich.
No. It's not that. I got the opportunity to do it after about 35 years or something.
Big up, man.
Then so the lad said, could I get more seats if they got involved with me? And then that's what happened. So now there's like 8 or 9 of us involved in that.
That's beautiful,
so,
man.
Yeah, so that's great. So from next season onwards, for the next 7 seasons, I'm going to be over there all the time. But it's just, they're getting past that. My point is, if our ones are that price alone, imagine what people are paying on their own, and that's just for the Anfield Road end. That's not even the Carlsberg Dugout or anything like that. That's the New Brodies Bar. So imagine what they're paying over there with more money, and then you've already got the season. I understand the season tickets. What are they, about £900 to a grand?
Standard's 800 to a grand.
Yeah, so about that. So I mean that's the you got all of that, and you pay your tax off the seating, and then and then you've got the advertising going around the stands and stuff. There's more than enough money there to spend the profits per season. And then they're saying and then you've got investors that come in as well to take the profits back. You got to pay them out. So that's where your balance comes. Your balance comes from that. You're talking there should be still about 240 million per year available. 225 to 240 million per year. No, but not per year, but for every 18 months, let's say, available. After people take the share, if they do it. In my mindset, they won't do it every year. They'll do it every 3 years. So I'd say it'll be 220, and then maybe it'll be a dip, and there's only like 50 million available on the third year. So I don't know.
You're called Black Spider.
It's after that.
Yeah. I mean, it is mad. I don't know where the money's going. I mean, I think Nike purposely make us shit kits as well at the same time. I swear that's on purpose. I swear they look at it and think, fuck them, let's just make them shit kits. I don't know where that. I think everyone got, the problem with us Liverpool fans is sometimes is when we see things on Twitter, right? Oh, Liverpool got Nike now, the biggest sports company in the world, yeah. If you're 20, right? And it's and like, and they go 20% goes to Liverpool, and they can invest. It's never been done as a football team ever. It's the first of its kind. And we're like, wow, extra 20% off merchandise, everything that's Nike sold. It's going to boost transfer revenue, blah, 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 blah. And then in April, you're like, £15 million profit. And we're like, where the... What? How's this possible? How do we make £15 million profit if we make 20%? Just alone, let's take all this out of thingy 1 minute, guys. How do we make £15 million profit if we make 20% of everything Nike sells merchandise-wise? And we know for a fact our kits always sell out. Ricky, how's this only 15 mil? What is going on?
Well, the Nike-based fee was lower than what New Balance paid Liverpool. The incentives were a lot higher for Liverpool to get on Nike, but I'm still waiting for this LeBron James stuff. My man ain't benefited.
Oh,
nothing
that was
to the
disgusting.
football
That was
club.
disgusting, kid. That man.
Yeah, like,
Little, big up Tom Little. Tom Little's gone. Big up Tom Little.
We've waited since the Nike deal for LeBron James to get involved, and he brings that piece of shit out. What he brought out with them trainers.
He looked like he did that on like his computer the night before and just printed it out. It was
It's mad. I'm sure everyone keeps saying a well-run club. We're not. I don't even know what to say anymore about it. I just think it's horrific, man. Like,
so bad.
Yeah. He's right though, because I mean I didn't even include the 20% extra that Nike make on top of that figures that I gave you there. So that's extra that they're making on top of that. So I don't know where the money's going, to be honest with you.
Takes quite a lot, that chat as well. You haven't watched Ricky a lot. He's usually got quite a lot to say at FSG. It's quite rare that.
It's just.
He's literally got a John Henry pillow at night that he bops when he's going to sleep.
Yeah.
Dartboard as well in the corner. There you go. It's when United start winning titles, though, boys. Like, no one's gives a damn. Like, big respect for City for going out and winning it and all that, because, as we've already said tonight, you can have all the money, but City have spent it in the right areas, on the right players and the right manager and the right infrastructure. Like, once Manchester United start winning titles, if they do get taken over, it is official. It's another different kettle of fish, in all honesty, because they then start pulling away from Liverpool Football Club in terms of league titles and everything, and then we're back to what we were doing in the 90s and the early 2000s as well, where we're in the wilderness, in all honesty, for me. But no one cares if City are winning titles. They will do in another 5-10 years if they catch us up in European trophies and all that. But it's that notion does me head in my butt. No, I don't know what's going to take the final push.
There it is.
Also, the kit sale for Liverpool is the highest out of all the clubs at 94.3 million.
Yeah, Liverpool sell out their kits all the time, man. Not just in this country, it's all over the world.
Yeah, so you're talking 2.45 million kits sold at 94.3 million.
And they make 20% of that, and we only make 15% profit. 15%.
Do you know what?
Profit.
Do you know what the worst thing is? If Man United get taken over by Qatar, they could spend $500 million a season without breaking financial fair play because of the amount of money Manchester United make.
Revenue. Yeah.
How do you compete with someone spending $500 million as well as Man City?
City won't be able.
No, City won't. Either. But City don't need to do that no more because they've done it over a certain amount of time. Newcastle apparently got 75 to 100 mil to spend. Yeah, all right. We'll see at the end of the summer what they.
I think that's per person. I think.
Yeah. It's like when Liverpool sign a world-class player, let's take McAllister, World Cup winner, 35 million. It's like we should be thankful to FSG that they found a massive bargain.
Undervalue as well. That's a £60-70 million player.
If he didn't have that release clause, we'd be paying 60-70 million, and I don't think we do it. No. FSG won't pay 60. No, if McAllister's 60-65 million, we don't buy him.
Well, we bought Nunes for 65.
That was a panic.
I don't know. I think Darwin was scattered and wanted. I really do.
Yeah, he was 100%, but the price was panicked because Man City got Haaland that summer. There's not a lot of top strikers out there. Nunes' stats in Europe before he come to us were amazing for Benfica that season. I think I didn't say McAllister's world class. I mean, he won the World Cup. Yeah, and obviously he's not world class. He's a good footballer. He won the World Cup. He's not world class.
Big potential.
Klopp could turn him into.
He could be our Gundogan. I really think he can. I think McAllister's going to be electric for Liverpool. I think he's going to shock a lot of people how good he's going to be. But you are right. I mean, what I will say, look, I know it was bought with Coutinho money, but we've broken world records for a defender and goalkeeper. You know, I was shocked when we spent that much money on Alisson because we just smashed Roma to pieces, you know, a few weeks before. And I didn't really think much of Alisson at the time. I was like, what, really? Okay, all right. And okay, all right. And it worked out pretty well.
It's because they got 140 mil. They got 140 mil so they could spend that money.
I don't mind that, though, because as long as you spend it. What I will say, when Liverpool get the money, what I will give them credit for, right? When Liverpool usually go into the transfer market and do business, Liverpool do very good business. They're, rival fans have always said they're always jealous of the business we do. How do you find players for that? That's madness. You're buying players for that and that, and they're really good deals. So when Liverpool actually, Cody Gakpo for me at 38 million is going to be a snip. Kanate at 38 million is going to be a snip. Salah at 33 million was a complete snip. Mane at 30 odd million was a complete snip. Bobby at 28 million. Yeah, Robbo at 8 million. They can find play. Virgil at the time, let's face it, 75 million is peanuts for how good he was in his prime. Alisson is peanuts for how good he is. So that's the thing I think that frustrates a lot of Liverpool fans is that we are actually quite good in the transfer market when we decide to actually do business. So this is what pees off a lot of Liverpool fans that don't make sense to us. You've got Kone there. It's very, very gettable. This ain't a hard transfer to do. He's very gettable. Firstly, the sporting director at Mönchengladbach is the son of Big George, who's our sporting director right now, right? Big George was brought in to purposely look at the German transfer market. That's what he's been brought in for. Plus, he's very good friends with Jurgen. They got a good relationship. And plus, he's not a yes man. He's actually stands up for himself and tells people where he should go. And he's got good knowledge of the German transfer market. That's why he's brought in. Kone, if you look at Kone as the type of player he is, guys, and you look at the way FSG model their transfers, I need a perfect FSG transfer. In reality, guys, because wages, I think he's on like 14 grand a week.
Pennies, like.
Yeah, transfer fee won't be much. Signing on fee won't be much. Agent fee won't be much, guys. So, Jack, don't you find it a bit weird that sort of transfer is a very FSG gettable transfer, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And the players that you've just all riddled off, we all know the names, mate. It's disappointing, and you do wonder, and as we've already spoke about in today's episode, like it's whether who it comes down to, like if the data analysts people are coming with like 5 names on a list and Kone's on that, and Klopp turns around and goes, no, I don't want that, then it's like, does Jurgen Klopp want a bigger high profile, or it depends on in terms of the dossier of players that are coming to him. Like Declan Rice, whatever anyone thinks, I think he's a very talented player. Yes, he's a lot of money, but goes to what we said already today. We're never going to spend like 90 or 100 million on a player because that's our whole budget. We're going off what we've all discussed today. Like
Declan Rice, Jack, is going for more than Jude Bellingham.
That's mad. Like
the whole deal, not though. The whole deal's not.
Oh, the whole deal, no, but the transfer fee. I don't know. I think they might be on similar wage. Jude Bellingham's going to be on 210 grand a week.
Yeah, but Jude Bellingham's deal is going to be got to 130 million euro. Declan Rice is 100 mil tops.
Yeah, my biggest concern. Yeah, my biggest concern, boys, is we get McAllister in and we're playing him alongside Jordan Henderson.
Yeah. And this is my problem, Jack. Will be there. That's the problem.
Another thing on that thing from last year for the cost, right? Just to get it past the last part of it, our media revenue went down by about 5 million, but it's 261 million per year, right? Match day revenue rose to 86 million. Yeah. Commercial revenue rose to 247 million, but which is 294 million, right? Or 594 million, sorry. But the administrative costs rose to 545 million. So you're telling me administrative.
Well, that'd be cut in half next season because the stadium's going to be completed, ain't it?
Yeah. Well, I get that, but I mean we're still in 7.5 million profit. So if you see that, and it was like 5 million something profit last season. So if the growth is there while still looking after the stadium, because that was post-pandemic, so you'd want to be seeing that. Yeah, you'd want to be seeing at least 200 or 300 million extra on top of that. Next season.
Spending a lot on ink by the looks of it.
The administration cost is basically the loan they took out against the club to build the stand. Because I think, is it David Lynch who works for Football Insider? He's a great journalist. He's up there with your Joyces and that now. He's quality. And because he goes a bit against FSG, and he's one of the only real scout ones that do. And that's what a lot of people like him for. But yeah, he was saying that the cost of building the stadium up since we've been starting the 2 stands has cost us like a player a transfer. One transfer every single season, and next season it's going to be the administration cost should be slashed in half because stadium's going to be completed, no more building, no more doing any of this, and the revenue's going to be even higher because it's 60 odd thousand. So that's how much was revenue this year for that?
Revenue was commercial revenue and match day revenue.
Match day.
Match day was 86 million.
So that's going to go to almost 100 mil, isn't it? With
Yeah.
the new stand. So, and with the look, so there's no excuse. What we're basically saying, guys, this summer, like Ricky's saying, there's no excuse for Liverpool not to spend this summer because at the end of next season, when all the money comes out and what people spend and all that, Liverpool probably go and make more money all over in Europa League.
You know what's going to happen, Jay and chat and lads? We're going to end up making work on the Kop. We're going to expand another side of the ground.
Jack, because you're down there. Jack, because you're up there and you live right by it. Is it true? They can't get council permission to build on the Kop, can they?
Yeah, it's
because the house is right behind it.
Logistically, in terms of the back end of the Kop, the road leading onto that, I've seen a couple of designs that have been floating over the last couple of years. They're going to have to probably go underneath the stand, if you get me. Yeah. And in terms of obviously transport as well, when you add more the surrounding area, it's already a nightmare trying to get out of the ground, chock-a-blocker. So many roads closed. So
Hicks and Gillette messed all that up, didn't they?
Yeah, because there was a lot of talk in Anfield, obviously Stanley Park, obviously the park in between Liverpool and that rubbish across the road. That would have been where the stadium would have built, and you would have. But you never know. It's logistically, it's an absolute nightmare. I'd love, I think all of us would, to see the Kop. It looks weird. Looking at the Kop, it used to be one of the stands now, isn't it? Yeah, it's weird, but give it another year, they'll announce the new stadium expansion. There'll be less money to spend.
Would you, as having Liverpool fans, guys, would you rather have moved from Anfield or kept Anfield?
No,
built it.
Kept.
No, kept.
Yeah. So they've done the right thing there, I suppose.
But just not.
They could do what they did in Amsterdam.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Ricky. There should have been a little bit more of a gap in between.
So do one of the stands, invest in the squad. Do the other stand, invest in the squad. That's how it should have been done. Not stand. Oh no, we've got Henderson and Milner still playing midfield.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I agree. That's where Arsenal got ruined for a little bit at the beginning, weren't it? When they built it.
So this is my biggest point now, right? How are Arsenal going to be spending close to 250 this summer on players? They spent 250 last summer on players, but Liverpool can't.
Do you know what it is? It's because Arsenal had to play catch up when Liverpool spent all that before. I think that's what it is. So Arsenal were playing catch up before, and if you look at people like Saka and stuff like that, because Arsenal were in a position where they could play like Saka's and your Martinelli's. Martinelli cost hardly anything. Saka come through their youth system, so they could let them players play because of where they were in the league and where they were positioned at the time. No one expected them to be up there at the time, so they could play them players and slowly them, and then because they were playing them players and building, then they can start spending that money. Where Liverpool was spending that money before, and now Arsenal and everyone have caught up. This is the issue. Everyone's caught up now, and Liverpool are not. Instead of stretching out and continuing, they've gone, no, we'll just stay still and everything will be rosy because we got Jurgen and we got this and we got that and we'll get better. Look, I know what FSG are trying to do. They're trying to build a sustainable football club where you build your success sustainably. I understand that. And in a perfect world, I think that's probably how all clubs should be run, right? Unfortunately, in 2023, that's not the world we live in anymore. And
I think they want to sell. I think FSG want to sell, but they're just
they're waiting for what United go for. Do you reckon they're waiting for what United go for and then judge it by that?
If United go for 6 billion, Liverpool's 4 to 5. We're 4 to 5 billion. We're not worth the same as Man United.
I reckon they'll last the same.
FSG will think that, but we're not. No, let's be realistic. We are not the same level as Man United commercially around the world. So Man United
our jerseys are more, our input is more, the ticket sales are more. So in the last few years, but yeah, United were way more than that
But
years
that's
back.
because United
Oh,
aren't
yeah,
winning.
yeah. Yeah,
Once
yeah.
United start winning,
When
in
then
like
they'll get it
25,
back
10
again.
years, yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
good grief.
But we've
Yeah.
got Forbes value Liverpool at 4 billion.
Yeah.
So you're if you're lucky, you'll get 4.5 to 5 billion if someone's desperate to buy a Liverpool Football Club. FSG, like, it's all right though because everyone keeps saying FSG saved Liverpool Football Club. Every time I bring the FSG debate up about selling, I get that response. FSG saved Liverpool Football Club. No, they never. But they bought us for 350 million.
Yeah, investment.
There was a lot of people that could have bought Liverpool Football Club when FSG did. Someone would have bought Liverpool Football Club, so FSG didn't save us. They just saw an opportunity. They've made X amount of time more than what they paid for us. Thank you for what you've done for Liverpool Football Club, but you now need to let us go so that we can still compete.
No, I agree. I agree. I don't hate FSG to it. No, I don't think they're like the worst owners ever or anything like that. It's just the investment side of the game. You know, you can't. You know, they're not shit at their job in a way because you wouldn't have the commercial revenue we have if they were terrible at their job. You know, I know people will just go because they're just people. A lot of people will just go, "Oh, it's because of Klopp." It's not always just because of the manager. The manager can only do his job with the people around him. You know, Alex Ferguson can only do his job with David Gill. You know, David Gill was there at a most successful time with Alex Ferguson. Was it David Gill? It was David Gill, wasn't it? Yeah, and they did their job together. And as soon as Gill left, Ferguson started to struggle a bit, you know. And I still to this day don't know how Ferguson won his last league in 2012 with that squad. It was shite, you know. And I think Ferguson would struggle in today's game, you know, against Pep and Klopp and stuff like that. With the
you
way
could see it coming down the road, Jay.
Yeah,
that's why
he could see it, and he's like, "I'm moving on now. I'm done." You know, and Liverpool, we're not asking. I'm not even. I don't know about you guys. I'm not asking to be taken over by a state or anything like that. I just want an owner to come in and go, you know what? I can see what you need, guys. I'm looking at the squad. Got a lot of quality there. There's a lot of talent. There's actually not a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm not starting from scratch here. You know, there's a lot of talent there. You've got a great coach. You've got great training facility now. Stadium's getting bigger. It's a lot of great infrastructure at the football club. You just need certain few things sorted out in the future, you know, and sorting out the academy a little bit, getting that academy sorted out, you know, looking at players and going, you know what, right, Jurgen, I know you want, right, let's go and get that player for you. No, let's go and get him. Let's go and get him. Let's go and get him. I'm not bothered about losing out on Bellingham because, you know, the whole total package of Jude Bellingham, you know, is a lot of money. But if another person came in and we had an investor right now and he went, right, you're not getting Bellingham, guys, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to get you Kone, Turan, Gabriel, Vega, and McAllister. That's going to be your midfielders next season. Every fan here right now, we'd all be smiling, wouldn't we? We'd be like, that's all we wanted. We're not asking for the world. We're not actually asking for Jude Bellinghams all the time and Mbappe. Yeah, of course, they'd be great. But in reality, these players only go to super clubs. You know, they're not always going to these clubs. Now, everyone goes on to... the thing I get annoyed with sometimes is when Liverpool fans go, oh, we're never buying the world-class players like Man City. Oh, what world-class players they bought recently? Because Ake came from a relegated Bournemouth.
Julian Alvarez was a bargain as well.
Yeah, Akanji was bought for Borussia Dortmund for 15 mil. Alvarez for 14 million. John Stones bought from Everton. Only a couple of years before that, he was playing at Barnsley. You know, Walker is great now because he's at Man City, but he weren't like that household name at Tottenham Hotspur, really. You know, he's a great player, but he weren't what he is now. So I always get annoyed at that. Because then I look at it and go, well, Liverpool bought Salah, Mane, Bobby, Van Dijk, Alisson, Firmino, Fabinho, Robbo, Trent through the academy, Thiago. You know, Liverpool, it's not like Liverpool bought shit. You know, it does annoy me, that sort of stuff. So you don't have to do what PSG are doing, what Real Madrid are doing. Look what Man City are doing. They've got bundles of cash, but they're very good at how they do their transfer business. Akanji for 15 million. Liverpool could have bought Akanji for 15 mil. You know, John Stones, they bought him. Carl Walker. Ake. Look, people laugh when they bought Ake. He's one of the best defenders in the league last season. They bought him from a relegated Bournemouth. You know, Jack Grealish, 100 million, doing bits now. You know, you don't have to go and buy. You know, your Mbappes go to superpowers, don't they? They go to PSG where the money is ridiculous when he's getting paid $1.5 million a week and he's the king of Paris. They gave him a sporting director job, assistant coach, all that malarkey. If he went to the only other club he's probably going to go to is probably Real Madrid. Superpowers. So I'm not bothered about not buying them kind of players because I'm realistic. But what I'm bothered about is not investing in the right areas at the right time, Ricky, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's not what we've done. Diaz was the Mane replacement, so it was good work there. We were so desperate for a midfielder. I don't know why we signed Cody Gakpo in January for 35 million. I get it; he's a very good player, Cody Gakpo. He looks an absolute talent, and he looks like the perfect Bobby replacement. But when you need a midfielder to try and get top four, you go bring another striker in. It made no sense. You spend 40 million on a midfielder in January, you got half a chance better than what you had to get top four. But the writing was on the wall when Arthur come in on deadline day on loan. A person that was already injured at the time.
Mad.
Like, everyone started to relax for that, mate. Like, everyone started to relax at that moment. Like we were voicing our concerns, but like the whole Liverpool scene was just relaxed. Like,
I did a video on it when Arthur was full, right? Because I was buzzing. The reason I was buzzing is I didn't know he was injured at the time, but I know Arthur's actually a pretty good footballer. Actually, to be fair, a fit Arthur at that. If Arthur came in super fit, right. If Arthur came in super fit and he was flourishing and he was good and he was ready to go, he's arguably your second best midfielder behind Thiago. He really is, because he is actually a really good footballer. The problem is, like Ricky said, we bought a footballer who's already injured. And pre-season has been and gone.
Calvin Ramsey as well.
And that Calvin Ramsey's gone on loan to Preston North End. Guys, let me know right now, Ricky, are we ever going to see Calvin Ramsey play for Liverpool in the first team?
Who's that?
Exactly. Jack?
No. Yeah,
Spider?
no way.
We ever going to see him play in the first team?
Not right now, no. Maybe kind of at a Flanagan type role if you go back to that. Nah, as it stands.
Carvalho. You ever going to see Carvalho playing the first team, Ricky? Ever?
No, his attitude stinks by the look of it. Apparently, so I think Liverpool sell him with a buyback clause. Sorry, this summer. Because I don't know what's his best position.
I don't know where he plays. I don't know why.
He's a 10, yeah.
I've said this for days. Apparently, he's a 10, but then he said he likes to play left wing. And he ain't playing left wing in front of Jota and Diaz, is he?
No. Yeah, like he seems like he's had a massive falling out, and I don't think he'll be at the club. I think this goes to what we were saying today, miss. Like our valuation on players seems to be astronomical, in all honesty. Because I think what would you say Liverpool could get, or Jay, or lads on the panel? Like, I think Liverpool must be quoting at least in excess of. Well, which I don't get is we don't want him to leave the football club, but yet Carvalho's moving like he wants to leave the football club. So it looks like we're keeping him at his own will. Like, that for me stinks the place out, in all honesty.
That makes sense again, does it?
Yeah, like if we want him to stay at the club, then give him an opportunity. Don't bring him on, get the winner against Newcastle, then don't play him for 3 months. Like, what are we doing?
The only lone player who's come back and played is Elliott. That's it.
Yeah, when you're quoting teams 30 mil for Nat Phillips, you know you're in trouble.
It's because we used to do that and get away with it, and people have gotten on now. This is the issue. People have gotten on. I mean, we've got 25 million for Ryan Brewster. Should never have happened.
We're quoting 25 million for Keller or the goalkeeper. I mean, you'd be lucky to get £2.50 off of that Southampton game.
Yeah, the Southampton game was bad, but I'll tell you what, if Queven Kelleher's available, you get less than 20 million for him. That's shocking.
Yeah, I think you get 50. No, I think you only get 15 tops of Keller.
I'd keep him in. I wouldn't sell him for less than 30. Not in this transfer
Keller
market.
at 30 mil.
Yeah, in this transfer market, how good he is as a goalkeeper.
David Raya's 40.
He's good with his feet. Yeah, he's good with his feet. He's a good shot
I think he's a
stopper.
pen merch. He's a pen merchant.
Yeah, I like it. I think he's a decent goalkeeper. I think he's a decent goal. Look, the final against Southampton, I don't blame him too much for it because
Three of the goals were his fault.
Yeah, Gomez in front of him now.
But he's been left in the cold, ain't he? He's been left in the cold. He ain't had no game time at all. And I think Keller's a decent goalkeeper. I really do. We don't sell players like we used to, and that's an issue, ain't it, guys? Like a good way of look, we're meant to be a money ball team, right? Sell to buy. And as I said, I've not really got an issue with it if you do it properly. But the problem is we don't sell anyone. So how can we buy anyone? That's the issue. We don't sell anybody. We sold Mane for nothing, right? Nothing. We don't sell players no more. A way of succeeding as a football team is knowing when to sell players at the right time. Yeah, when to sell players at the right time. You know, Naby Keita for me should have been sold 2 years ago. Should have been sold. To let Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain leave this club for nothing when they cost a combined 95 million, I believe,
criminal
is outrageous. It's bad business. And 2 years ago, you can't tell me. I know they're injured all the time, but there's got to be a point in time when they're not injured in pre-season and stuff. Like a couple of years ago, this club should have been going right. Naby Keita is not just go. It's not going to work. We're going to forget about it now. We're going to make some money back on him because this ain't working. So we're going to sell him. Oxlade-Chamberlain, thank you very much for your thing. You're never playing for us. You're always injured. We're going to let you go. I don't care if you only get 10 million each for them. It's better than letting them go for zilch. It makes no sense whatsoever. Like our outgoing business of late guys has just been dreadful, ain't it, Spider? And I don't get it. We used to be the best at it.
Yeah, look, there should be returns made in any football club that's going to. If we're a club that maintains itself, then we should be making returns off of players, really. If you're thinking in that matter, it goes back to the point that I said about Salah probably being sold last season or this season before given that big contract. What's he on now? Like 19 million a year now. So, I mean, that's a big wage bill there. It goes to, look, once you give Salah the service, I think he's a world beater. There's nobody better than him on the right-hand side. There hasn't been ever the likes of him in that ilk in the Premier League, as far as I can remember back playing from that side and scoring as many goals as he does. But self-sustaining is not going to work going forward unless the supposed, I think it's going to do it in inverted, wage caps and all that coming. But look, there's good the clubs. These cheating clubs are going to find loopholes. They're going to find ways to get
10-year deals.
10-year deals. They're going to find loopholes to spend all of this money and do all of that. So if there's a wage bill cap, there should be. Look, at the end of the day, you could also say that with the American investors and stuff coming in, that there could be a ploy behind it where they force the market to go to such a way where it turns into trading rather than because have you noticed that they're doing these long deals, and is that so that they get sanctioned to say, oh no, you're only going to be able to have a player for 5 or 6 years and then that'll be a maximum, then you'll have to sell him or move him on, and then all you're going to see is the Americanisms coming into and I don't want to see that in any football game. Everybody loves the transfer windows, they love the money changing hands and all that. You don't want to be seeing people traded this way and traded that way eventually. It just, because I mean there's no promotions in American leagues or American style sports or anything like that. There's no relegations in their sports. It's just rotating money all the time. And yeah, it works for them, but I find it very plastic, to be honest with you. I can't get into that style of sport. It's just too. Yeah, just look at the fans when they try to sing a chant. I mean that's a mockery in itself. To get it. Yeah, so I mean, look, I want to see that plastic side. I want to see that if we're just going to have to start competing really, and if Jurgen Klopp doesn't get the help that he does, he'll walk, and then I can see us in a.
I don't think he does.
In a couple of years.
I don't think.
No, I think he goes before that. 100%.
I think Klopp signs a new contract. I'm telling you all right
But with
now.
no spend.
I'd love to see him
I
go.
think Jurgen signs a new contract. I think Jurgen loves the place. I don't think all that matters. I just think he loves the place and he loves the club. And I think I don't know if he knows what to do with himself if he's not manager of Liverpool. Because I don't know where Klopp goes after this. Because I don't think Klopp really, like, if you listen to Jurgen Klopp talk, and I do this all, I say this a lot. Listen to Jurgen Klopp talk about matters that are nothing to do with football. All right, Jurgen Klopp is a socialist. All right, he's a left wing. He's a socialist. Yeah, listening through when he was talking about COVID times and when he's talking about Boris Johnson and stuff like that. He's a socialist. That's what Jurgen Klopp is, and I don't think he would go to a club that is run by a state ownership. I really don't. I'm shocked at Stevie. I'm really shocked at Stevie, what he's done. I ain't gonna lie. It's just, I just don't see where he goes. I literally think he stays. I could see him maybe going to Italy, and that's probably it. I think he'd love Italy.
The only reason I can see him leaving is if he becomes severely depressed within the club.
That's it.
Yeah,
he lost his mum, and you can't get more depressed than that. He lost his mum and couldn't go to her funeral. I mean,
the new contract he signed, he was promised. I'm telling you now, he was promised that the club would be sold. It would get investment for him to rebuild the next Liverpool team, because obviously it was coming to an end. He was promised stuff on that new contract. You see at the back end of interviews when they were talking about investment, a takeover, he looked giddy, he was smiling, happy.
I was going to say something.
Yeah, and then it changed. And then he looked angry when he was getting asked questions because FSG lied to him. FSG told him there's going to be money to spend in the summer. There's going to be investment coming in. We're potentially looking to sell the club. Mike Gordon didn't go on a sabbatical. Mike Gordon went to go sell the club. That's why he got taken out of his position at Liverpool. He went to sell the club, find investment for the club. He come back and found fuck all. I mean, he probably tried to sell us for 10 billion, knowing these people. But he come back, got put back into the position of his daily running the club because they couldn't find no one. FSG have been looking for investment since 2016. When Tom Werner got interviewed, they said they're looking for people that would be willing to come into the club to invest in Liverpool Football Club. No one's going to give FSG £1 billion and not have a say into Liverpool Football Club. Why would you do that? Why would you spend £1 billion
It doesn't make sense. It don't make sense, all this investment stuff. I don't get it. It makes no sense. It's not like they're poor. It's just it don't make sense. That part don't make sense to me. I think you're right. I think Klopp was promised something when he signed his new deal. I don't believe. I know people said, "Oh, he only signed it because his wife told him to sign it because she likes it here." Yeah, look. Let's face it. His wife likes the £15 million a year he earns. That's not kid about it. The man earns bread. He earns a lot of money. So yeah, but I think she does love the city and the team, of course, and the players and all that, and the atmosphere. And so does Jurgen. So I don't see Jurgen. He's never going to call out the owners. I know people want him to call out the owners. He does feel like he protects them a lot sometimes. I personally think he doesn't like the owners, and he probably likes the way they run a business. But I think he now knows that he needs more investment, because unfortunately, this clubs are now getting owned by these companies that are buying. Look, do you guys want to be owned by someone like who our City are owned by, where it's all allegations, obviously. We don't know if this is true. Aguero was bought by Etihad Airlines and not actually by Man City, but Man City owners own Etihad Airlines. And Etihad Airlines have never made massive profit, and apparently they made like £50 million profit one year when that's never actually been the case. Do we want to be owned by that sort of investment, or do we want to try and do it the right way, as they say, Ricky?
I don't want a state-owned club. I just want someone to invest in Liverpool when we need a player. When you need a midfield, 2-3 midfielders like we did last summer. I want an owner who's willing to go, here's the money, go get what you need. I don't want Abu Dhabi. I don't want Dubai. I don't want Qatar. I don't want Saudi. I don't want state. I don't want none of that. I just want someone who's willing to back the manager and back the club to win trophies. It just seems like as a club we don't care about winning trophies no more. The way we spend, but I just want someone to come in like I don't think he's any good, but like a Todd Bowley, who's willing to spend when it needs be. He's obviously splashed 600 mil on a load of shit, but if he goes to Klopp, someone like goes to Klopp, he's 200 mil one summer. I'm not asking for 200, 300 mil every summer. I'm asking for money when we need it, and we've needed it for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. I was just looking at people saying about Stan Kroenke. Look, Stan Kroenke is worth double of John W. Henry. Like he dwarfs him in value, in wealth. Stan Kroenke on his own is worth 12.5 billion on his own. And don't forget he married the woman whose dad invented, who did Walmart or something like that. So they're swimming in money. That's why Arsenal can afford apparently a Casado and a Rice deal right now, because they're worth more than John W. Henry. It's just the way it is, but they're releasing funds now. But also, the Kroenkes as well, they're quite successful in their other businesses as well. Didn't the Nuggets win last night? I was saying that's what I've been seeing on Twitter, and he owns them. But then look, Americans in the chat, please let me explain this to me. But how the hell can you move a franchise from one state to the next?
That's Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. Yeah, Wimbledon, the only club have done it here, ain't they? How can you move a franchise, man? It's just that's madness to me. I don't get that personally, but they're successful. They're successful. The only sports franchise he's not had success with so far is Arsenal. Hopefully that continues.
Who does he own? What NFL team was it?
Nugget. He owns the Nuggets, don't he? Is it the
Denver Nuggets? Denver Nuggets.
The Kroenkes have got a basketball team.
Yeah, he had the trophy last night in his hands, didn't he?
Oh, is it? I know they've got an NFL team, but
yeah, the Rams, didn't they win the world super, whatever it is?
All of these lads meet up for poker. They absolutely do.
Yeah,
all the owners of the franchise, they're all sitting there, the nine table poker match,
Yeah, they're all laughing at John Henry when he rocks up, asking to get a buy-in for a game of poker. My man ain't got the facilities to come play poker with these big boy owners.
Well, they're meeting already on Tuesday and Wednesday. All this notion of in the big Premier League meeting of all these owners, all the Americans would be like, yes, keep it all in favour of us and that. But I think for the big point, I don't know you lads feel or chat, is the sporting director. I think all what you have mentioned over the last 20 minutes, all this is massively alleviated by the sporting directors. I think Liverpool losing the last number of sporting directors in that we have is shocking. You look at Taxi Berrican, the Spanish sporting director. I think City, he's he's the best in the business. He was at Barcelona, and Pep bringing him in. And you look at the Sevilla ex-sporting director that's coming in now with Unai Emery. He is bob on. He was getting them Champions League football as well. So, he is a big brain behind. And for me, mate, the way I look at it is Liverpool will be an absolute mess in terms of our sporting director. It's good, right, employing someone for 3 months, but what's he going to do? Do 3 months job and then not
You've
get
got 3 month probation. When you get a new job and you get a 3 month probation period, don't you? Where the manager sees how you go and stuff like that, and then they decide if they go give you a full-time contract. That is what he's doing. He's on a free.
It's crazy, mate. It's crazy.
It don't make no sense, guys. So there is one thing that has been spoke about maybe happening. Let me just get it up. By the way, big up Allison getting player of the year. That was no shock. Where is it? Right. So the Premier League clubs are considering introducing a spending cap that would link the amount any club can spend on wages to how much television money is paid to the lowest Prem team. Now, the problem with that, you're going to have a massive divide, because the top 6 teams in this country are going to have more TV rights. They're bigger clubs. They can spend more money. So their cap will be at this high, and the teams down the bottom, their cap will be much lower. So you'd have no difference now to win if you put the cap in, surely. I'm not sure about all this, Ricky. I don't know about you, but would there be any difference? Because the big clubs will still have a higher cap.
So I think it's based off of the team that are bottom, the worst team in the league, 4 times their TV revenue.
Yeah.
But it's a load of nonsense. It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late to do. It's too late to do a salary cap or a transfer cap. What's the point? Because if we do a transfer cap now and a salary cap, Man City is still the best team because no team can get near it.
No.
Because of the players. So for me, it's pointless. And I guarantee it's that Div John Henry that's leading the other Premier League clubs up to the Premier League office, trying to last hurrah.
But has he got a point though?
No.
Should there be a cap? Because if you look at Haaland, yeah, I saw something on ESPN today, and they were saying like Man City got Akanji and Haaland for a combined 75 million. But let's be fair. Haaland's whole package is probably 500 million, right? Half a bill, right? With wages. I mean, he's on a reported 400 grand a week, but bonuses included, it's about 800 grand a week. His agent fees, his dad gets royally paid, sign-on fee, everything connected. It's a massive deal. So when you look at stuff like that, because the monopoly in this game, unfortunately, is what are we going to do? Are we going to have 2 Premier Leagues? Is that the way it's going to go eventually? Like all the teams are going to argue for 2 Premier Leagues. You have a Super League for the Premier, like the wealthy, and another Premier League so people can make money.
There's always going to be a bigger fish, though, boys. It used to be Italia back in the early 90s, the early 2000s. Italy was the prime destination for all the top talents. Then, obviously, the TV revenue with the Premier League come in. La Liga, everyone was going to either Barcelona and Real Madrid. We were getting Xabi Alonso pinched off us by Real. Mascherano went to Barca. And now it is the Premier League, but there'll always be a bigger fish, boys. I'll tell you what, if Qatar do have what the reported fee is 20 billion to throw at all these top talents building infrastructure, it'd be disastrous for the model of the Premier League if you put a price cap on it. And I think all of us are all fair, and we want about fair game. Because I think all of us love that Leicester running. It was never happen again in the next 100 years. I'll tell you that now. If it does, then it'd be an absolute bloody miracle. But yeah, if we do, it'd be more or less subpoenaing yourself, really. Just stopping the clubs from spending, and then say if Saudi or another league wants to get big investments in there, then it'd knacker the Premier League.
All that it needed was just not like a spending cap or transfer cap or wage cap. All it needed was a better ownership test to buy a football club. Dubai bullied, Abu Dhabi bullied the Premier League to buy Man City. The Saudis absolutely tore the Premier League apart to get Newcastle, because at one stage it weren't happening. Then it got taken to court and stuff and whatnot. They ended up buying Newcastle. The Premier League get bullied by by countries buying teams. But I'll see someone put in the chat, if you can't afford to run a Premier League club and stay competitive, you should sell.
But what's competitive? That's the thing. What's competitive? Because I would argue that FSG have been competitive. That's
they have, but not now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But not now. Now it's time to sell.
It depends what you see as competitive. See, I always look at it and think, Liverpool aren't competitive right now because FSG ain't willing to spend. It's as simple as that. So looking for investors, I don't think you should be out. If you're an owner of a football team, I don't think you should legally be allowed to looking for investors to come in to spend their money on your football team. I don't think that should be allowed, because I think that's a form of cheating. Personally, I think that's a form of cheating. It's like Man City getting a sponsorship that don't exist. You know, you put it in Google Earth, in Google thingy, and that place got shut down 24 hours after it opened and all that nonsense, yeah? All right? There's no difference in that, in my opinion. Getting an investor in who has nothing to do with your football club, it's just got billions to spend, that's kind of a form of cheating, because your owners are not doing it. John W. Henry and that sitting there like that with massive cigars, while here's Steve coming in with 7 billion and going, here you go, you can have that. And
look what's happened with golf, Jay. Someone mentioned that on my chat.
Yeah, the Saudi Arabian golf tour.
like Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy were like, "Oh, we're not signing up to that." But then their whole bloody player roster got bought out by, and they got
And they got to play
swamped.
over there anyway.
Yeah,
No, they've merged together now as well.
Yeah, they merged.
so
The PGA and that merged, yeah.
So
So
that's
they got to play
next.
over there anyway. So really, Tiger Woods and Rory just missed out on the money.
Yeah.
They're playing over there anyway. They should have signed it. Fuck it. But look at Saudi Arabia. Look, they have all the big boxing fights now. You know, it used to be Las Vegas. I'm telling you right now, in the next 5 years, the boxing destination is going to be Saudi Arabia. Because that's where the money is. Vegas ain't going to be able to compete. You know, we grew up in boxing in the 80s and 90s. You know, Vegas, big fights. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. They're going to have all the big fights. I guarantee you right now.
It's like Mad Max or something, and it's turned into where everybody's just going to go into Dubai and Saudi Arabia, and that's only where sport is going to happen for these kind of competitive sports besides football.
And I guarantee you right now, a Middle Eastern league, one of the Middle Eastern leagues, Saudi Arabia or something like that, will somehow play Champions League football.
Yeah, they will.
In the next few
Well,
years.
they play the Club World Cup, don't they? But they'll find a way.
I bet they play somehow in the Champions League. Look, if Australia can be in Eurovision, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Jay,
right
just
now.
another one there when we were talking about the value of Liverpool earlier. Redbird Capital bought 10% of Liverpool for £545 million, and if that's 10%, that means 100% is 5.45 billion.
Did they buy it in Liverpool or FSG? I'm always confused by that thing with Redbird.
Would you say the brand?
They bought into the whole. Actually, let me see.
If it's
They bought
FSG, then it's got nothing to do with Liverpool, really, has it?
No, they bought
James got a percentage,
into.
hasn't he? Like, and he's like more or less tripled.
They own AC Milan, don't they? And they run AC Milan exactly the same way FSG run Liverpool.
They're going to kill AC Milan by sacking Maldini.
Got rid of Maldini, and everyone's like, nah, you don't do that to Maldini. That's like sacking Gerrard at Liverpool, isn't it?
It's FSG. They own FSG.
Yeah, so they went into FSG, so it's got nothing to do with the bustard.
Okay, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. So look, guys, this is why the top European teams want the Super League. Because let's face it, like Jack just said, it used to be the Italian league, used to be the Super Wealthy, then the Spanish league, and it's where all the players wanted to play. I don't see English football not being the most dominant league in the world for the next 10, 20 years. I don't think anyone can compete. I watched Inter Milan in the Champions League final, yeah? They were awful, right? And someone was saying on there, Bournemouth or Aston Villa could outspend the Milan clubs if they wanted to.
Yeah, but that's Italian football's problem.
That's mad, ain't it? It shouldn't happen. That is madness.
I don't think I think if the league you're in is not doing the best to get the best TV deals, the best commercial deals, and the Premier League is, fair play to Aston Villa and Brighton for spending more money than these teams. These teams don't do enough commercially to get that money.
Yeah, you look at like
AC Milan, Inter Milan. AC Milan is a bigger team than all them.
Oh yeah,
they should be. No, AC Milan are top 10 greatest teams biggest teams of all time.
Yeah, but these Italian teams are poorly run. They're poorly run.
Italian league. That's like we all get arrested here.
Corrupt.
I mean, that's
Sampdoria and is it Parma? They're in like the second tier now. It's like it's mad.
Yeah, I mean, and Inter Milan, man. I thought our team was old, and I've seen Dzeko playing and shit like that. And it's like Dzeko's been 40 forever, ain't he? He's one of
Mkhitaryan.
Mkhitaryan coming on looking like my granddad. You know,
Darmian as well, like a Man United reject coming on playing.
And Lautaro Martinez. Is he the worst hyped up footballer you've ever seen?
Yeah. And when he comes to Anfield, apart from that shot he hadn't scored, it was a fluke, but
he is dog crap. Everyone kept on my channel. Everyone keeps going, Lautaro Martinez player. I'm like, when? He's not quick. He can't run. He can't hold up a ball. He has occasional good shot. He's so bad. And I swear Lukaku, and I said it on my watch on, Lukaku's on Man City's payroll.
He's been offered 20 million a season to go to Saudi.
There you go. I'll tell you, Steve, how much has Stevie been asked?
He's working over there to save enough money up so that he can buy it from FSG.
Yeah, hopefully. You know what else? 5D chess from Stevie. Go on.
It's that's a that came from left field, didn't it? I didn't see that coming. A lot of Liverpool fans are really pissed off about it. How do you feel?
I don't get why. Let him go get the money. Get the bag.
I said to them on the show, I was like, go for them. It's like
I don't understand the problem. There's money to be made. Just go and make your money, guys. Just go and make your money. I know there's morals and all this stuff, and
he's gonna make more money than he did as a footballer over there.
It's gotta be mad, isn't it? It's gotta be mad. He must have been told, Alex, this and this. Look at the figures I'm gonna make. I don't want to live in Saudi. Don't worry about that. Look how much money we're gonna make.
Look how much money you're gonna have to go shopping.
Don't worry about it. It's gonna be a couple of years. I'm minted, and then hopefully I can buy Liverpool. That's what I was always doing it for. It's always doing it for. But guys, look, listen. The way we're looking at it, and everyone in the chat, we know we can't compete with a City financially, Newcastle in a few years' time. If Man United have not been taken over yet, the news has not come out, but if they do, if Man United get taken over, it's the biggest takeover in football history. That's just a fact, right? I hate to say it because who they are, but it's a fact. It is. You know, when Man City got bought out, they were in League Two like a couple of years before that. This is Man United, for goodness sake. So it's the biggest buyer. It's the biggest buyer of all time. And if United have got money and they're going to spend it wisely, I know a lot of people in the chat have said it today already. You know, United spend money anyway. You know, and they do. They've spent more money in Pep Guardiola's Man City team in the last few years. Solskjaer spent shitloads of money when he was manager, right? But the problem is they spent it unwisely. These guys are going to come in and spend this money wisely. You know, look at the guys that are coming at Newcastle. You know, they haven't gone straight mad. And you look at their transfer options they're going for this year. They're like Madison's and stuff like that. They're not going nuts. They're getting players in that make them better.
They are ahead of schedule, Jay, for me.
They don't need to go like 4 stages to go mental and get a Neymar in and stuff like that, because that ruins what they're doing. You know, they're going sensible. And if Man United do that and start buying sensibly with the money they got available, we're all in trouble. Let's just face it. But look, Liverpool got to buy properly. They got to invest. We got to have a good summer. What we do, boys. Us four will come back at the end of the transfer window. Yeah, we'll do that.
We're going to watch this video as well.
We'll come back at the end of the transfer video and see what we said today holds up, or if we had a good window. Because if we've had a good window, we're all happy, yeah? We've had a good window. We're all happy. We'll let it slip for a little bit and see how the season goes. Because they go and get... I don't know what everyone's window is, right? If we get 3 midfielders in and a centre-back, I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm quite happy with that. I don't expect us to fix a whole thing in one window. That's just silly, because you don't want to bring in 8 players and, you know, how do you put 8 players into a team and a system and get going straight away? So if we get 3 midfielders in a defender, I'm perfectly happy with that. Rick, what would you be happy with a window?
Yeah, McAllister's in already, so another 2 midfielders and a defensive option. Don't have to be a centre back, don't have to be a right back. Defensive option that can come in. But for me, the midfield has to be sorted before we go anywhere else. Yeah, that midfield needs sorted. I mean, I like the article them saying that they're looking at other areas, which I hope. I'm glad about. The bit where they said they don't want it depends how much money's left over is what a lot of people got upset about. Jack, what's your ideal summer?
3 midfielders, and I'd say even 2 more defenders, mate. But it's massively dependent on what Joe Gomez does, and a couple of those players in that team. Joe Gomez is the answer for Liverpool if he was in form and he was playing well, but he's not been playing well for the best part of the last 2 seasons. So so 3 midfielders at a minimum, mate, and I'd say even. And that's with on top of McAllister as well, because no more excuses the back end of the season, mate, from any of us, really. Like, we'll all be looking at each other and say, we told you so. Everyone's like, but yeah, 3 midfielders on top of McAllister minimum, and at least 1 or 2 centre-backs that can play full-back for me as well.
Spider?
Yeah, I'd love 3 midfielders and the centre back option. But if you were to tell me that Trent was being moved more so into the midfield, and we were buying a right-hand sided centre back to right back option that can come in there and cover, with another midfielder with McAllister, I'd be happy enough with that. Because I think once we give a bit of respite to Fabinho and the likes of them, I think they can just improve again and get back to at least 85%, 90%. Because I don't expect too much in one window, because I'll only end up getting angry and letting ourselves down if we think that we're going to be buying this, that, and left, right, and centre. So if I think the smart option is where Klopp was playing Trent last season, and he's going to keep him there, but put somebody else in behind him, either side with Van Dijk and somebody else either side of Kanate, almost in a 5-man move up midfield, if you want to call it from 5 to 5 from defence to midfield, but constantly staying around the midfield mark. I'd take that on with McAllister or somebody else, just as long as it's not, Robbo, Henderson, Fabinho, McAllister, and Trent. Like, you don't want to see that. You want to see somebody else coming in there to at least, take over from Henderson moving forward. Somebody to give a bit of. I think Trent can easily give a bit of freedom to Kefram Torum or somebody coming in there. To sit back and not have to worry anything. Trent can just be creative up front, and McAllister will be given absolute freedom just sitting on the edge of the box. So I think if we had one more midfielder and a defender coming in that was right hand sided, I'd be happy as long as Trent was moved into the midfield. If not, then 3 midfielders and a defender.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need 3 midfielders. I think what we'll do though, I think we'll get Thuram. I think that looks like that's going to happen to me. I think we'll get Thuram and McAllister. With Trent, I've said this on the spaces with Coppish the other day. And with Trent, if you put him in midfield, I don't know if there's many midfielders you could buy that's arguably better than Trent at what Trent does.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get a lot of Liverpool fans' issue with Trent going into midfield. A lot of Liverpool fans are scared of change because he won everything as a right back at a young age. My kids are going mad. I'm going to kill them. And then, but people people evolve. Bale evolved from a left back. Kimmich evolved from a right back.
Sounds like Kimmich.
Trent can evolve and he can play in that midfield area.
He was a midfielder before Klopp did.
If you play Trent in midfield permanently and buy a right back, bro, they quiet. And if you get Thuram, Trent, McAllister, Fabinho, Thiago, Stefan, and Curtis Jones, and then you got your Hendos and that in the background. I could do that for next season if you're buying a right back as cover, but a right back's got to be good enough. I don't want to, a right back just for a right back's sake, just to play Trent in midfield. You got to get a proper right back in. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that, but if it all depends what Klopp wants to play. If Klopp wants to play 4-3-3 next season and going back to the old way of playing, like we used to play with the counter press, then he needs to get Thuram in, McAllister in, and another body that's got legs, in that midfield. So, and play Trent at right back. It all depends what Klopp wants to do. So, Trent, for me, when I watched him, I know he played right back and he went into midfield, and everyone's going to come, "You weren't really midfield, Jamie." Yeah, he started at right back, but look, most of the games, let's be fair, 80% of the time he played central that midfield. He didn't really go
right wing
that much. He played in that midfield area, yeah.
Another way you have to look, Jamie, is that he for all the games he played last season, he was terrible right back, but he was brilliant when he went into the midfield.
Yeah. What at the end of the season, Trent was better inverted fullback playing in that midfield area than he was at right back. Yeah. For me, Trent defends better in midfield because his interceptions are higher. If you look at his interceptions, they're higher in midfield. That's what Klopp loves. He loves midfielders intercepting the ball higher up the pitch because you've got that higher transition, which it goes to getting goals easier. His ability on the ball is second to none. We know that his passing range is ridiculous. He can set anyone up. Look at the assist levels. His assists suddenly went up more the more advanced he was in the pitch. So for me that makes sense. But
he's experienced as well, Jamie, from right back where he was. Now moved into midfield as a covering player for somebody who's going to play a right centre back of a tree, or somebody who's going to play a right back is, that's, you can't buy that kind of experience and that kind of, so him covering somebody is better than him defending himself.
Look how happy he was
Yeah.
as well. He looked miserable at right back.
Mm.
And then when he went into that role, he looked much happier. And
Mm.
look, was it a coincidence that Liverpool got better? I mean, was it a coincidence that Liverpool got better? Probably not. But guys, that's it for us today. Big up for everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Thank you very much. The new subscribers, the likes, and everything. I do appreciate it as always, guys. I'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock with my call-in show, guys. So I know a lot of you guys in the chat want to come in and have your say on all the stuff we spoke about today and everything else going on with Liverpool Football Club. So make sure you tune in at 6 o'clock tomorrow for the call-in show. Ricky, what you got coming up on your channel soon, man?
I think we'll do a few more transfer shows at some point this week. We've got. Do you know, I'm trying to take a little bit of a break, to be honest. Refresh, go again for next season. But yeah, no, we're mostly just transfer shows. I think we might do a few transfer shows on other teams, but we'll have people coming on to do that instead of me and Luke. So yeah, just check us out, 1892 Reds TV, on the road to 1K.
Excellent. Yes, go and subscribe to 1892 Reds TV as it is there, right there. Jack, what you got upcoming, man?
Just a bit of everything, really, mate. News. I'll get you on soon, mate. Well, there'll be plenty of shows, mate. But massive thank you for having me on, mate. Great to speak to the lads on the panel and everyone in the chat. Yeah, and have some birthday cake. I've had too much cake over the last couple of years, as you can tell.
No such thing with having too much cake.
Love it. Yeah, so massive thank you, mate. I've enjoyed it. Always love coming on with you, mate. And yeah, everyone, have a good rest of your afternoon as well and enjoy your evening. Cheers, mate.
Spider, you got what you got coming up?
Yeah, well, most of my stuff is normally on Spider LFC. It's mostly live watch-alongs rather than news, but myself and Jack have the kit men there as well, which we'll be doing a multi-supporter events over like twice a week, and that we'll be doing. And mainly you'll find me gaming on Spider on YouTube or Facebook, and Irish Spider guy on Twitch.
There you go, guys. Go and subscribe to all these great guys, one big Liverpool community. Go and subscribe to everyone, guys. Thank you very much for joining us all tonight. Really appreciate it. I'm back tomorrow for the call-in show. Make sure you're here 6 p.m. Big up for now. Enjoy the rest of your